Yes.
It's for Friday the 26th. Sorry, I had to.
No, we're going to love your presentation when you're up here.
I hope
No, I mean genuinely.
so. I hope so.
He's,
So do I.
okay, let me get through this because I want you to really meet the host, Jen. So we are streaming this right now. As you can see, we have all this tech here, 5 cameras. If you are interested in purchasing your set, it'll be $10. Or you can check us out and your performance later on YouTube, Center for Talking Arts. And you can watch not only this show, but every show in the past and every show in the future. The next event, tomorrow night, we will be having our first fake cult super secret meeting. It's a monthly. Now, the cult leader, he will remain anonymous, but he has this great project where he is seriously investing millions of dollars that people can have a part of to play this game of being a fake cult member. If you're curious about how you can participate, check out our Instagram profile, and the poster pretty much says it all. And we'd like to see you there, and make sure you tell everyone not to go because it's super secret. It's a super secret fake cult meeting. What else? If you do not want your image recorded at all, on the sign-up sheet, please write opt out, and we will respectfully put up a sign on the screen, video saying you choose not to have your image shown, and we'll kill the audio too. And yeah, follow us on our socials. Am I missing anything else, guys? Oh, yes. Oh, and for those of you who are not familiar, behind the bar, we have George Terabay. He is our head of enthusiasm. Oh, and the abbreviation, head of enthusiasm, he's our ho. Okay. And beside him is a man who started this place. He is the founder and the anonymous, okay, not anonymous anymore. I just killed his anonymity. Please give a round of applause to Jake Jenk. Now for your host. She is the warmest of the warm. She's lovely. She makes everyone feel welcome, and we love her for it. She is Hamilton's own author and poet, Jen Frankel.
All right, and the first thing I've already done is not bring up my clicker. When you're up here, just like if we were doing a comedy club, with which this is sometimes. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't think you'll be able to see this, but there's a little traffic light over here. So if you're on and you decide to go way, way, way over what we consider a normal time limit, which is 5 minutes, give or take 5 minutes. When we have a lot of people, then sometimes we can't accommodate long pieces, but I think tonight we can.
Somebody help her.
Stop that way.
It's not good.
I was a sound technician in another life, you can probably tell, right? Definitely another life. The reincarnation was pretty hard on me. So we've actually got a traffic light over here. So if you're getting to the point where I'm thinking that you've been up there a little too long and the audience is getting restless, I'll put up a yellow light. And if I don't feel like making a paper airplane and throwing it at you, which is my normal way of getting you off the stage, I will flash the red light. And you can think, it's just like you're in a comedy club and management's getting pissed off at you. So it's kind of fun, kind of fun.
You need a big cane.
I would love to. I don't know where you get a novelty cane like that. Sorry, of course I know where you get a novelty cane like that. Amazon. That's where you get everything. Whether you want to or not. Hello, it's so nice to have you all here tonight. We've got a lot of readers. I'm so thrilled. It's this is a project that I started a couple of years ago in Toronto, and then foolishly decided that I would keep it in Toronto and keep doing it every week in Toronto. How's that drive from Hamilton to Toronto for you guys? Do you love it? Yeah, it's kind of hell. So I'm so glad to be bringing it to Hamilton instead. The event's called Right On Right Now, and that really just means that it's a celebration of every kind of writer that you happen to be. If you write songs, if you write lyrics, if you write poetry, if you write rants, if you write philosophy, anything that you write, I'm thrilled to have you up here. Even if you are somebody who doesn't write your stuff actually down, but perform it, anything that you want to do up here, I'm really open to it. I have never had occasion to kick anybody off or found anybody to be so objectionable that I didn't want them to do it. I think that it's a truth that we don't often recognize, that all of us have creativity in us. And this event is dedicated to the notion that it's really damn nice to have a time to get up and share your creativity with other people. So with that said, I'm going to read a couple of poems myself, and then we are going to get on. I feel like there we go. I actually unscrewed it a little bit from the base. It's just, yeah, it's just nice to be a little bit off center, you know, when you're doing things like this. So I'm a poet to some extent. I write novels and screenplays and things like that too. Basically, because I write so many different kinds of things, I'm really good at not making very much money. But I don't really see that as being a big issue. I'm just very happy to be able to share something with you guys tonight. This is a poetry book that I put out last year. It's called Mayhaps. It's poetry of longing, loss, and love. And this poem is called, really, I Come Here Just to Watch Him. And I think it feels like a poem that could have been written here. It was actually written in a place very much like this. Really, I come here just to watch him, though the atmosphere is tolerable, I suppose. Just the right mix of smoked wood and neon, with the jostling music of nighttime fiasco weighing so lightly on a mind clouded by no more than caffeine and fatigue. I can sit in solitary bliss, my intrusion slight, as his fair head flickers in and out of sight, while the coffee in the cup before me is drained into some place in my spleen that aches for some kinder use. And though I'm busy composing thoughts for the day ahead, scratching a monologue of trivial complaint, and though I keep up the pretense of traditional soirees on the traditional night, in the traditional solitude, really, I come here just to watch him. And that's from the section on longing. This is called You Make Me Make You. You want me as your disease when I could be part of the cure. You shall not change your mind, although I am surely new information, a fresh approach, one who loves you, different from your past. But you are set in your ways, and part of that way is to see only the loneliness of the road. Come on up, there's lots of seats at the front. The vanity of travelers, the way your childhood sensitivity could be used against you to draw you under shark-filled waters, to draw your blood from 1,000 cuts, to bleed you white, then leave you floating in a pool of your own gore. You do not wish to change your mind about me or about anything. That stubborn will has made you safe and calcified, like the semblance of trees in a petrified wood. It is not weak to change your opinion. It is the sign instead that someone lives, instead of someone that feels the past is the only safe place to be. A haven from the turn of the massive wheel that spins the world from age to age, from year to year. Once I, too, lived in the anxious past and the terror of my own staid thoughts, so I do not criticize. I merely hope you could someday throw away your certainty that the world will eat you up and see it through my gentler eyes. Thank you. And I'm going to finish with a poem. My last book was about love, and my next book is about mental illness, which is a natural progression, I think. This is called Therapy. Loving you is just like being in therapy. I'm with you for an hour, and you want me to leave. I pay more for it than I can afford. I'm still unsatisfied when you show me the door. Thank you. And if I am not mistaken, our first reader is going to be Frank. Yeah. If you guys, I don't know if you want to sign up, but the sign-up book is just on the bar over there, and you can also. There's also booze at the bar and other things as well. So please avail yourself. See, it's better. All right, everybody, please give a big hand and help me. I'm jumping over my own mouth. Join me in welcoming Frank. That's what I was trying to say. Hi.
I'm going to take the hug.
Oh, you can have the hug for sure.
Come on, those were good poems. Before I start, I just want to point out a couple of things. This is my second time here, so I still have the beginner nerves. So I brought my cheat sheets. Bear with me. I hope it's worth your while to listen to the whole thing. I shortened it 3 times because I fear the orange light. So I don't know how many people have noticed this wall behind me, but the first thing I noticed when I came in here 2 weeks ago was this incredible wall, and there's one on the other side too. You can imagine this wall is 150 years old, part of the city of Hamilton, built with the hands of immigrants. And although it's not technically perfect, it's perfect for the city of Hamilton. It's strong, it's lasted a long time, and I'm going to tell you one thing I know about the rock around here and the stuff used for foundations. And this is not part of my time. So. There were people called rakers, and what they did was they went in the shallow waters of Lake Ontario and they pulled up flat rocks that were strong, sedimentary rock that could be used for foundations, and you'll see them in these walls all over this great city. Okay, this is kind of a true story. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. It's called The Tragic True Story of Tiny Howarth. When I was very young, I lived in the same house with Tiny Howarth. My mom and dad were married young, and my sister was born, and they lived in my grandparents' house. And then I came along, and there wasn't room for all 4 of us in one bedroom. So my parents purchased their first house. And it wasn't long before my mom was pregnant again, and the house that they had bought had 2 bedrooms, and they rented one out to a person that played a bagpipe. Might explain why I cry every time I hear a bagpipe. And it wasn't long before my mom was pregnant again, and this time with twins. So the 1 bedroom, all 5 of us were sharing, wasn't working, and we moved to Burlington. And that's how I ended up on the other side of the bay. And my mom I have an older sister, 1 sister a year younger than me, and then the twins came along, so I'm the only boy of a 5-children family. And because of that, I was elected to be the official spider killer in the family. And whenever the spider alarm would go off, that would be screams from my sisters, night or day, I would have to kill that spider. I'm sure it's going to come back to haunt me someday. But I had to actually show proof of the dead spider before I was allowed to go back to bed. And you can imagine, with 5 children, and my mom was only 21 years old at that time, that she could use a break whenever she could. So I, along with my sister, went back to my grandparents' house often, almost every weekend. And that was the house where Tiny Howard lived. Tiny was a blue and white budgie and spent most of his days flying around the house. He would ride on my Nana's shoulder as she did her daily chores. And one day, she wandered outside and forgot the budgie was on her shoulder. And Tiny took off, landed in the first tree. And my grandfather ran in the house, grabbed the cage, ran in the garage, grabbed a ladder, and went up the tree. And every time he got close to Tiny, he would fly away. He flew across the street into an apple orchard. And my grandfather followed him up the tree, opened the cage, and Tiny would fly away. And as the sun went down, my grandfather came back and said, "Sorry, Tiny's gone." The one thing that my Nana and grandfather taught Tiny to do was say, "Tiny Howarth is no good, chop him up for firewood." And the bird would say that. So, of course, I was devastated that Tiny was gone, and I thought it was a born free moment. For those of you old enough to remember the Walt Disney movie. But my grandfather assured me that Tiny wouldn't make it through the night. Too cold and too many enemies. But the next morning, to our surprise, from the tree out front, we heard Tiny saying, "Tiny Howarth is no good. Chop him up for firewood." And my grandfather rushed out. He jumped back in the cage and lived for many more years. A few years later, my Nana won $1,000 at a bingo game. And she used the money to take her and my grandfather back to England, where they had come from when they were very young. And Tiny came to our house in Burlington while they were away. And a few nights after him being there, the spider alarm went off, and there were loud screams, and I rushed out of my room, turned down the hall, and when I got to the stairs, my sister was lying up the stairs with the cat by the tail and Tiny in her mouth, in the cat's mouth, not my sister's mouth. We were able to get Tiny out of the cat's mouth, but after visiting the vet, Tiny didn't make it. And we had to tell my grandparents when they came back from England. They weren't that upset. And they bought a cat. Thank you for listening to my story.
I grew up with budgies. Well, with 2 budgies in a row at least, and I just loved having a budgie. But I've got a cat now, and I think the moral of your story is that I will not be buying a budgie. Please. Well, I was kind of have always wanted to have a budgie again, but I don't think that the cat and the budgie would mix too well, especially not now that I've heard that they definitely do not mix very well. That was a great story, though. Thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming our next reader back to the stage. This is Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're going to sit on
Should I
that?
sit first and then you can adjust?
That sounds
Here we
good.
go.
And I'll bring her over to you.
Alrighty.
How's that?
Testing.
get
A little
that.
bit higher.
You
Can
don't
it go
have to get
higher?
that close to it.
Oh, no? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Should probably do really well.
Okay. I am not telling a story, I'm telling a story, which means it's a piece of creative writing. All right, here we go. This is actually big enough, but I really want to make it big. As I reached for my father's hand when we crossed the street, he looked down at me and said, "You're too old to hold hands." How did this happen? 8 years old, and I was too old to hold hands. I didn't know it was going to happen so quickly. I would have held his hand more if I'd known it was going to end so soon. I've spent all of 8 waiting to be 9 when I should have been wishing for 7. What I couldn't tell my dad was that I didn't believe in Santa. I knew about sex. I've heard too many swear words, and I wanted desperately to hold his hand. I hadn't seen my dad for 6 months, and in that time, I'd become a grown-up who no longer needed to hold hands. I wanted to cry out, "Please, Daddy, hold my hand." I want to hold hands when I cross the street. I like it. But I didn't. I put my hand back to my side, and in my mind, I said, "I will never, ever reach for your hand again." And I meant it. "What do you want for lunch?" she said. "It doesn't matter. How about we go to this diner? They make a great BLT. Do you like BLTs?" Never had one. It stands for bacon, lettuce, and tomato, and they're the best sandwiches you can eat. He ordered 2 BLTs, and when the food came, I could hardly eat. "Don't you like it?" "Yes, I guess I'm just not that hungry." But what I didn't say was my stomach hurts. What I didn't say was I want to cry. If I was too old to hold hands, I was way too old to cry. "Pass your plate." When we walked back to the car, I kept my hands to my side. I told myself that his hand had special powers that burned you if you got too close. "Your mom says you need new shoes. Do you?" "I don't know. Your shoes look fine to me. Anything wrong with those shoes you're wearing?" "No." What I didn't say was they hurt my feet. What I didn't say was my toes are all scrunched up at the end. I knew he didn't want to buy me new shoes, and I'd rather not go through the motions. My stomach was really hurting, and the half BLT felt like I'd swallowed a brick. On the drive home, I prayed that I wouldn't throw up all over my dad's new car. "Please, God, don't let me barf in my dad's fancy new car." I knew there was a God because I made it all the way without upchucking. Thank you, God. When we pulled up, my dad said, "I've got to run some errands. You go in and see if Cheryl needs any help." Okay, but what I didn't say was, "Take me with you. Cheryl hates me. I don't want to go in there." I walked up the stairs to the front door, and the brick in my stomach did a backflip. I felt sweaty, dizzy. "You didn't have to ring the doorbell." I'm sorry, I didn't know. Where'd your dad go?" "He said he had some errands to run." "Why didn't he take you?" "He thought I could help you around the house." "He did he? Well, come on in. There's plenty of housework to do." "Do you know how to vacuum?" "Yeah." She took out the vacuum and told me how important vacuuming was. "If you vacuum every day, your carpets will last a lot longer. When dirt gets into the fibers, it wears the carpets down." "Does your mom vacuum every day?" Not always. But what I didn't say is we don't have a vacuum. What I didn't say is we broom our carpet. As I vacuumed Cheryl's carpet, I thought about how much I hated her. Her feet were so ugly, so big with those toes that have those bumps on them. Why did they make those cracking sounds when she walked around? Why didn't she wear socks? I would so wear socks if I had those feet. Her face was all pinched. She looked like a witch, and her voice so shrill. How could my dad even stand her? I imagined she was some sort of punishment for something he'd done wrong. What could he have done? Maybe he killed a man in the Vietnam War. Maybe it was Cheryl's husband, and marrying her was his penance. Lisa! She yelled out in that voice. Yeah. Make sure you move all the furniture when you vacuum. I've sprinkled Carpet Fresh everywhere, and I'll know if you've missed even a spot. Okay. When my dad came home, he told me to go to my room and read. I sat at the door, and I could hear them arguing. Where'd you go? Just some errands. Didn't Lisa tell you? I thought she could help you with the housework. Didn't she help you? Oh, I put that little brat to work. You can tell she's never vacuumed a day in her life. She's spoiled. She wasn't even going to move the furniture. Do you smell like beer? Yeah, I had a beer at lunch. Are you sure you didn't go to the strip club? No, calm down. Lisa's going to hear you. I don't give a shit who hears me. I'm not babysitting your brat while you watch Peelers. Do you hear me? Later, my dad came into the room and said, if Cheryl asks if I had a beer at lunch, you say yes. Okay? Sure. He reached down and patted my hand with his hot hand. I imagined a permanent imprint of his hand on the top of my head. Ouch. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Well, why don't you get yourself washed up for dinner? Cheryl made sloppy joes. Okay, I said, but what I didn't say was I think sloppy joes look like dog food in a bun. Eat your supper, Lisa. I'm just not very hungry. My stomach hurts. People are starving in Africa. Why don't we give them the sloppy joe then? Why don't we? And then, out of nowhere, came my dad's hot hand. It felt like someone had put an iron to my face. Don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry. But somehow my eyes watered up, and despite all my will, tears came streaming down my face. Go to your room and don't come out for the rest of the night. Later, my dad came into my room. Cheryl worked very hard on that meal, and when you don't eat it, it hurts her feelings. I'm sorry. Well, let's not happen again. Good night. That night, I dreamt I was in Africa serving a small village sloppy joes on china paper plates. They opened up the buns and looked inside and sniffed. Nobody ate the inside dog food. They just ate the bun. It seemed like that took them forever to eat all around the slop. They ate so slowly and carefully. In the morning, Cheryl said, put on your Sunday best. We're going to church after breakfast. I didn't bring my church clothes. What I didn't say was I don't have church clothes. We'll try not to wear something without stains. At church, I prayed for Cheryl to die. Then I felt so guilty. I changed my prayer to her just divorcing my dad. Then I prayed that I stopped having these terrible thoughts, and I prayed for God to make me a nicer person. On the drive home, my dad and Cheryl fought about Cheryl's mom coming over. If Cheryl's mom is anything like Cheryl, I can see why my dad didn't want her to come. They were no longer speaking by the time my dad got home. My dad told me to go to my room and read. Sure, we can have your brat stay with us, but not my mom? I didn't say she couldn't come. I just said maybe now is not the right time. Why? What's wrong with now? What's different about now? Well, Lisa's here. Maybe when she goes back to her mom's place, we can have your mom come and stay for a while. It's always about Lisa. Fuck Lisa! You need to send her home now. I'm not babysitting her while I go to work. I'm not. Well, you go to work. I'm not. I can't send her home early. She has a plane ticket. Fine, but Joanne's coming. That night, Cheryl made goulash for dinner. Another disgusting meal, only this time it didn't look like dog food in a bun. It looked like barf on a plate. You know goulash. Eat your supper, Lisa, my dad said. I'm trying. I'm just not that hungry. Well, you'll stay at this table until it's finished. Do you hear me? Yes, I hear you. What I didn't say was goulash looks like vomit. You guys know that. I sat at the table all night long. Well, when Cheryl or my dad came by, I'd put a spoonful of goulash in my mouth, and when they walked away, I spat it straight into my napkin. I fell asleep at the table, and my dad woke me up and moved me to my bed. He told me I'd have to eat the goulash for breakfast. That night, I dreamt I was lying in a bed of goulash. Every time I tried to get up, someone shoveled more goulash on top of me. I was gagging and choking, but nobody saved me. I woke up all sweaty, and I felt a little scared, and then I heard them. She thinks she's too good for my supper. What does her mom cook? I don't know. When you were married to her, what did she cook? I don't remember. How can you not remember? I just remember it was not as good as your cooking. Well, I'm not cooking her another thing till she eats every bit of goulash. You tell her that. The next day, Cheryl served me the goulash for breakfast and lunch. I didn't touch it. At supper, the goulash came out again. Honey, aren't you taking this a little bit too far? And then, out of nowhere, the plate of goulash came flying through the air and hit my dad in the shoulder. The plate broke, and my dad was covered in goulash. Lisa, go to your room right now, my dad yelled. I ran to the room and shut the door, and I listened. Cheryl, what the hell are you doing? Don't you ever question me in front of her. I was just saying that maybe we could lighten up a little. We don't see her very much. Too much, if you ask me. Shh, she's going to hear you. Like I give a shit. I heard my dad walking down the hall towards my room, grabbed a book, and jumped on my bed. Hey, Lise, can I come in? Sure. You okay? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Geez, can you just eat your supper? You're not making my life any easier. Sorry. What I didn't say was, at least the goulash was gone. That night I dreamt I was running down a dark alley and people were chasing me, throwing dishes. I was so scared and out of breath, and when I reached what I thought was the end, there were more people armed with more dishes. I woke up panting and scared, and then I heard them. Come on, Cheryl, I think you're being unreasonable. I don't care what you think. She goes or I go. If she stays, I want a divorce. Yes, I heard the magic word. Cheryl wanted a divorce. I knew that God existed. The next day, my dad didn't go to work. He told me he wanted to take me shopping for some new shoes. We went to the mall, and we were walking through the parking lot. He held my hand. His hand didn't burn me. It was even a little cold. I loved it. He let me pick out whatever shoes I wanted and took me to lunch. What do you want for lunch, I said. No, that much. A BLT! I ate my whole sandwich this time. On the way home, he told me I was going to go home early, and then he changed my flight for this evening. It's just not a good time, you understand? Sure. But what I didn't say was, where are you, God?
A tough road for a kid. That was a great story. Thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming our next reader, Brian.
Do
you want to stand and just...
No, I stand and just talk.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks so much. And
Need you
so nice meeting you, Frank. I guess the bird has a name now. In reverence to Leonard Cohen, we're all trying to be free, so I brought my own bird on the wire. My name is Brian Ropesian. You never heard of me. I'm here to share some of my musings from my third self-published book, Mouthful of Marbles, Juggling, The Eloquent Clown. It sort of prefaces my performance. I'm just setting myself up. Thanks so much for the introduction, Jen, and for Jake. come on, I'm bumping the business. Anyways, I brought my props because I'm realistic. I'm a poet. They never give you props. But I speak from the heart. We'll start with first poem. Sorry. Was it Woody?
Tiny.
See, he's free, man. He's a free bird. Anyways, first poem I wrote, it took me 32 years from my second title to actually start writing, and then 13 days and unending nights yielded aforementioned, juggling poet I am. Anyways, it's called Born Again, Again Christians. It's not every day a new God just arrives, preaching hatred, division, a mouthful of lies. Once love, respect, a kind Christian heart, replaced by this despot to bash things apart. The free press is country, no one truly safe, as bigoted hypocrites traffic in hate. His brain's been developed since the young age of 3. The world laughs a lot at the things sights they all see. Conservatives' bids, GOP's bid to rule everyone's lives. It's so blatantly clear in the manner they fight, believing might makes right where it concerns the left. Narcissistic gaslighting by fools, now left deaf. How I dread to imagine where all this could lead. The currency, urgency, in dire need. Their bankrupt investments in their fellow men, divided between mice and men. Now women now have their rights to be stripped away in a day once they process their zip. Their voices ring high atop each of their steeples as gargoyles bid venomous vile to those people with cherry-picked kindness and alligator tears and an arsenal of assault rifles to mitigate their fears, preaching their sermons, tiptoeing round fate, piled high upon shoulders of misguided hate. Judge, jury, executioner, the new job of the state, of anocracy in the divided states of America. That's all on that. Thanks. That was the first poem I wrote after 32 years. There was a lot of things going on, and I don't write every day. I'm not disciplined. I'm a conduit, and with age, I'm getting really good at editing. It just comes out. It's diarrhea. But I'm going to lighten things up now with the aid. I'm not on strike. I have my teaching aid. It's for you in the back in the nosebleeds. It reads quotation marks and, of course, quotation marks. So here we go. We'll lighten it up with psychology, a little ditty I call Psycho, Logic, All, Profiling. Freud was not Jung when both doctors met. However, Jung was a Freud of all the complex projections. Edward de Bono, with all his lateral thoughts, hold on, sorry, stop the clock, I yield back my time. Hugh Prather, Edward de Bono, with all his lateral thoughts, on Hugh Prather writing notes to himself about Otto Rank, who shouldn't feel inferior because he ranks high up there with Stanley Milgram, morally speaking. Pavlov is salivating to ring his bell so that Jean Piaget can play peekaboo with the kids that P.F. Skinner had left in his box, along with Harry Harlow's rhesus monkeys. Phineas Gage, he prefers his punches not be spiked, especially when the great Canadian Wilder Penfield arrives with the toast, albeit a little burnt. And then R.D. Lang just arrives with no labels to adorn his lab coat. Good job. I recognized him from a Rorschach test. And finally, Maslow will not be in attendance because he is at the top of his hierarchy. And also, Kant, I told Kant he can't because he has no matter, philosophically speaking, he has no understanding, philosophically speaking. Perhaps I should recant that last line. Whoa. Okay, quickly, I'm on the clock here. I don't even know, I don't want to run a red light here. This is the first time I've done this. So, okay, I'll go through some haikus for you. Gently stepping on a bee. Oh, accidentally. Oh, now I feel like Phil Donahue here with the gray hair. How are you? Diminishing the chord structure for all you musicians out there. The B flat. Sorry. Not sorry. Where are we here? Okay. A hole in the sky behind tall trees. Full October moon. Lending God a helping hand on the end of the garden hose. Green grass and flowers. I need your help with this one. Like I say, I bring my own props because I'm a poet. I never get props. You guys clap because there must be a light on when I stop talking, or you're clapping because I stopped talking. But here we are. If you can be so kind as to help me out as I overstuff collection plates. God is truly blessed. Another indictment. Now together we can all be one, heartless, on the internet. Okay, I got a new one I just wrote this month on the 13th day of this year, and I call it Too Many Unanswered Urgent Messages from Matthew at 7:15. The pen is mightier than the sword. However, should its wells swell of red, hate-filled lies, then the sword is rendered blunt, then pointless. Its hilt driven hard into the cold, hard ground, unforgiving. Strong, stoic, yet silenced against the hellstorm of incendiary free speech. Oh, sorry, I forgot my prop. But incendiary free speech. This is my first time. Go with me here. Sorry, I'm running a yellow. Free speech. Till all that remains, blood, drenched, inverted crosses, the silent swords of truth are all that remain amongst a slow-moving, charred almost to the point of recognition, sheep in wolf's clothing, as it preys upon the lifeless red dove, a grave sight for their grave sites. That was, I kind of got inspired with a lot of things going on last week, if you know what I mean. I'd like to share another one with you quickly, and well, a couple more.
That's about your time.
That's my time?
That's about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Next time.
Okay, thanks. Okay, well, I'm still here talking. No room at the inn. If we could live forever. Consider all that's come before us. Consider the space and stop thinking of yourselves. We wouldn't even be here if we could live forever. Thanks. Yeah, it sure does. Relatively speaking, unless you're watching the kettle boil. Oh, thanks.
Another hand for Brian. I've seen prop comics, but that's the first prop poet I've ever seen. That was pretty cool.
I could use a footnote. That's another show, I don't know if
Just another round of applause for Brian, and then please join me in welcoming. Is this your first time reading for this? This is exciting. Please join me in welcoming. Big round of applause for Melanie, who is significantly taller than I am. Do you want to sit or?
I'm not going to sit. No, that's okay.
This is a real microphone for once.
Oh my. Hi everyone. Okay. I have 4 poems. None of them have titles, and I think they're about the duality of love. So this is the first one. Sometimes I imagine you as a little boy opening toys on Christmas morning, ripping the shiny paper off your new playthings, so eager to be satisfied and so hungry for something new. Is that what I was for you? I remember the first time you unwrapped me, mapping my body and coaxing animal sounds from my mouth, incandescent skin, radiant in the moment. I abandoned my reason and myself. But the novelty of a new toy never lasts. And if you handle it roughly, like cheap plastic, it will crack and splinter, its color and fascination fading. No more bang for your buck. So you stuff the toy in a crumpled bag and you drop it off at the local charity shop. Recycling toys this way keeps the house tidy and your hands clean. And it's a snap to shop online for a shiny replacement. Mom never complains. One in, one out. Don't ask and don't tell. And I hope you fucking choke on coal on Christmas morning. Because when I look at you, all I see is every man who didn't choose me. And I want to see nothing. I'm writing a radical new me. And I've never been so fierce to protect my peace of mind. So savor your blank space, and I will not demand what you won't give. And know this, my hard fought truth. I do not want you to ever touch me again. Okay. So this is number 2. The memory transfigures when I dream. 2 innocents tangled on a blue velvet sofa, drunk on wine and lust. Voices whisper, then compel. You would if you loved me. And I ask myself again, how can 10,000 nails pounded into submission be a path to safety? I learned early how to scrape dirt out of my mouth, but never how to stop swallowing more. Godspeed this destruction. It's time to burn, and it's time to heal. A cloudless horizon beckons me, but Hank is singing about that old-time feeling, and I can't help it anymore. A ghost brushes my fingertips, and I'm gone. Okay? And this is number 3. I sold the profane jewels, and I burned the prophecy dress. I excoriated my memories like scraping flesh off bones in an abattoir, and then I washed my body clean. But the exorcism I'm mining is elusive, crawling through keyhole passages and ransacking celestial caverns and kicking at dead embers, then to uncover a mother lode that was gleaming in your eyes. Quicksilver hands and body. Attraction never had such opposites. But I wouldn't kiss your luminous mouth because I'm a fucking miser with love and I don't know how to trust. So I pillage streets and I stockpile spoils of war, weave words into barricades, and walk a fraying tightrope of control. I crave your wildflower kiss at 3 a.m., honeysuckle dripping from my tongue. This is my revelation. Surrender your soul brand, and I will lay down my weapons for good. And this is number 4, and it's a little more fun. Thank God. All right, it's short too. I want to get a job at a record pressing plant in Detroit because I want to work for Jack White. Then I'm going to smuggle home everything I can find. But no cheap acetates that spin twice and split. I deserve way more than that. I want a vintage phonograph cylinder that vibrates. I want a 12-inch pink marble picture disc. And I want a 180-gram half-speed master to play all night long because I want everything. Good, good, good reverberations. And no apologies. I'm just a girl who loves her vinyl. Okay, thank you.
I'm going to leave this up here because our next reader's pretty tall, too. Melanie, that was awesome. Thank you. When you said you wanted to come and read some poems, I didn't know they'd be so amazing. And I like that it felt like people weren't clapping as long as they might have between poems because they wanted to hear the next one. That definitely felt like that. Please join me in welcoming our next reader, Tochi. Yeah!
Perfect.
Still a little bit, yeah.
And it's okay. Yeah, great. I actually planned on just coming and talking about any random stuff on my mind, but then I came in here, my mind went blank. Yeah, but like most people do, I believe, I would want to believe, I've had hundreds of chats with myself on WhatsApp. So I'll just read this particular chat that I had with myself. So this chat was inspired by the whole Charlie Kirk death and our quest as humans to always want to tilt towards either being conservatives or liberals without ever wanting to really understand ourselves. So the chat begins. You know what I think is the problem with humanity? I don't think it's understanding that we lack. I think it's the ability to want to actually understand people who are outside the box. And what do I mean by this? If you can only understand people whose arguments fall within yours, within a particular system of belief, then you are part of the people I'm talking to right now. For instance, if we insist that someone who has a different lifestyle than yours is going to hell and refuse to accept their own accounts of their lives, that these emotions lived with them from birth, you are no better mentally than the man who owned slaves. There were three sets of slave owners in the world. The first set were the bad or the evil slave owners. These were the slave owners who treated their slaves extremely badly, like flogging them for no reason. And I said for no reason intentionally because there is also the second set who would flog their slaves, but they would only flog their slaves when their slaves did something bad or something, so discipline. And then there is the third group who never flogged their slaves or beat their slaves or raped their slaves. The same way, there were also three types of slaves. The most conservative type being the type that believed that everything about slavery was good, because in their mind, they were supposed to be flogged. They were merely objects. They were less than humans. Then the second group are the ones who refused to believe that they were animals or lesser humans. But they also believed that you could flog them if they did something bad. And then there was the third group, the most liberal. They believed that they were humans and that in fact slavery shouldn't exist. The interesting thing about slavery was that the slaves who believed that they were animals or inferior humans would even say that the ones who wanted slavery abolished were actual sinners. Because, of course, the authority to become slave owners came directly from God. And the Catholic Church also acknowledged slavery as a necessary thing. In fact, some of the saints who we adore now, at some point, literally said that it was a necessary evil. Aside slavery, although in my opinion it is now an overkill, but more recently, the level of respect that women get now is also a long way off the level of respect they got when the society collectively saw them as property. Women had to fight to be seen as humans. Then in fact, at some point, they also were okay with being seen. Some were okay with being seen as lesser humans. At some point, the fight was okay, see us as humans. At some point, it's graduated to we are equal to men. And now, that's the level that we are at, basically. Meanwhile, even as at today, there are still women who believe that they are an inferior gender because they are physically weaker. Superior ideological arguments, whether they tilt towards conservatism or liberalism, or rather, sorry, I was just rambling here. Superior ideological arguments have always tilted towards the most progressive end of the scale. I really believe that the whole point of humanity is to meet everyone at the point where they want to be met. If a woman wants to be a lesbian or if someone wants to be gay and marry someone else, good for them. That doesn't affect us. And whenever I made this argument back home, my friends, classmates and all would always say that marriage between a man and a woman is sacrosanct. Because that word was too heavy and it always felt like it was created in fact by the Catholic Church or by the church and means sacred. And yes, I agree that these are sacrosanct acts, but they are not sacrosanct by their form, but by their substance. What I mean by this is that marriage between a man and a woman is only as sacrosanct as an agreement between two partners who agree to pursue a business together. Once there is any form of agreement which is to the benefit of the partners, it becomes sacrosanct, provided that it doesn't hurt any non-parties to the agreement. In my opinion, a marriage between same genders should not be a sin. even if the church refuses to bless the marriage. Sorry, it's tilting towards religion a bit too much. After all, back in the day, the church would never wear the Catholic and the non-Catholic. But look at us now. Yes, superior argument is not always the right argument. So even as I hope that my argument is the superior argument, I should always be the first to admit that my argument may be wrong. I already see the downside to having the type of world. Oh, sorry, like I said, this was, we are all rambling. So but basically, all I'm saying is that it's never black or white. There are like a lot of colors in between. There is the gray and a lot of colors. And we all should strive to meet people where they want to be met instead of advocating for stuff and saying this is how it ought to be. Because I believe that anyone who was, like if you would call up your grandmom, your grandfather, I've forgotten who talked about their grandparents this evening, if you woke them from the dead now and now they see the world that we live in just 60 years, 50 years down the line, they would be shocked by it, by the technological advancements that we've gotten to and all. So doesn't it make sense that whilst we advance on these technologies, that even our ideologies should advance? The world for me is only as perfect as the amount of change we are open to allowing into it. So whilst God might have created a perfect world, the only reason I think it would remain a perfect world is if we allow it to adapt to the changing times. And that advancement has to be done in love. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think you've just described why I consider myself a radical moderate. Like I will fight to the death for my right to be right in the middle of things. There's a really great book that just came out. If anybody's interested in like biblical stuff and that, there's a comedian in the States, John Fugelsang, who wrote a book called Separation of Church and Hate. And he basically categorized all of the things, all of the arguments that people use to make people hate each other and show you what the actual Bible verses say. And it's fantastic. So yeah, I just finished reading it. Highly, highly recommended, Separation of Church and Hate. Please join me in welcoming our next reader for the evening, our next performer, Eamon. Oh, there he is.
I'm going for Jen, everyone. Let's start with a riddle. What is something that belongs to you, but other people use it a lot more than you? Guy in the corner, don't answer.
Your name.
Exactly. Okay, that wasn't a very good riddle. So yesterday, whilst doing stand-up comedy, we were talking about names and how people who come from the Middle East have to Gregorize their names so they can be pronounced here. And I found out that I'd written an article about this that was published in a magazine like almost 6 years ago. And in going with that, I will read that article out to you. But the funny thing is, we really don't give much stock to how being bilingual works with names and how we change our names. So Jen, I'll ask you a question. What is your name? And I'm not trying to guess your password here. What is your full name?
First name, last name, everything?
Yes.
Jennifer Marion Frankel.
3. Sir, you're very distinguished. Okay, all of you have just 3 names. In the Middle East, our names are a family tree where I start with my name, then my father's name, and then my grandfather's name, and then my family name. So when I first moved here and somebody asked me, what is your middle name? I was like, what on earth? What do you mean by middle name? I have 3. And they're like, 3 middle names? So here we go. I call this article Your Most Precious Possession. Okay? We're gonna skip through the intro, which was riddle me this. What in essence belongs to you but is used by others? You guys guessed it because you're smart. Once upon a Mortal Kombat comic book, this riddle was the key to unlocking infinite power. I did not come across this by chance. I read it in a comic book in the 90s. The answer, in case you are still stumped, which you are not, is your name. Granted, for the first few years of your life, we do not go by our name, unless we're in trouble. And it's called out in full. It's a mouthful if you're from the Middle East, but for you guys, just like 3 names, so. It is always a ridiculous pet name, beloved to our parents, grandparents, relatives, and friends, or all of the above. It is only once we start to understand the power of our names that we really take ownership of them. The first confirmation of our identity is our name on our birth certificates. It is what serves to differentiate us from the numerous other loud, crying, adorably cute babies. When we first learn to grasp a pen, the first thing we write is our name. As we grow slightly older, we begin to doodle it, making characters out of it. Undoubtedly, we will go through a phase where we wish to change our names. Early on, if it persists, seek professional help. To something we saw on TV. For me, personally, it was Jason Bourne. And not the Matt Damon version, the one before that was on TV. That's how old I am. I was around 4 at the time, and yeah. Struggles will continue. The order in which your name is written will matter. Which name gets mentioned and which is forgotten will matter. For the entirety of my life, to this very point of writing this article, my name is persistently incorrectly written as Nasser. I wrote this article when I was in Kuwait, and my family name is Nassar, but everyone would always just say Nasser, and this persisted for 36 years in the country, okay? On all forms of documentation and in pronunciation, despite my arduous indignation. Gradually, our name grows on us. We learn to love it, cherish it, even walk around the house beating our chests and pronouncing it. I do that after long runs. At this point of acceptance that a seismic shift in cosmic powers occurs to throw a proverbial monkey wrench our way. And, depending on which side of the globe you are from, the situation will vary. However, the result is the same, as you will have to accept the change to your name. In the West, where you guys are, and I am now, I wasn't when I wrote this, the main reason behind changing your name are if you're entering witness protection, or if you get married, if you're a woman. Women may change from their maiden name to either their husband's or a hyphenated portmanteau of sorts, or they will keep their maiden name as is. Right on, sisters, who decide to do this. In the East, specifically the Middle East, we believe in equality for all. No, we don't. So if you decide to get married, the woman need not change her name at all, initially. It is only when the stork comes to visit that they bring with them a new identity. Witness protection, remember? Along with a bundle of joy for the parents. Henceforth, they shall forever be referred to as Bu, father of, or mother of. It gets tricky. If your first child is a girl, you use her name. If you have a son afterward, you change to his name. If your first child is a boy, you're all set. That is your new identity. So, for example, my son sitting in the back, his name is Amir. So, I would be called Bu Amir. I cease to be Ayman. It was not until I took my child to a nursery and got called Bu so-and-so by the receptionist that it dawned on me, the little brat is stealing my identity. It was a stark realization with vast writing implications. I had accomplished so much, in my humble opinion, as myself. I suddenly remembered opening my very first bank account and signing my name for the very first time at the age of 11. You go back to try to close that bank account and they ask you to sign the same exact way when you're in your 20s. And I'm like, what? I remember how I loved the pointy edges of all the letters of my name and how during my first job I signed my name in full on every document I was viewing, only to realize how time-consuming it was, and then I just used my initials. And now, all of a sudden, my crowning achievement that redefines me is my offspring. Not the band, Offspring. Am I now legally required to declare this to the authorities? Is there some sort of form I'm required to fill out with pictures? Some parents run at this with reckless abandon, voluntarily updating their social media handles. Imagine if it were actually required, whereby Facebook and Instagram say something like, "Congratulations, we've noticed that you are a new parent. Would you like to update your name now or wait a short while longer?" We all dream of achieving self-actualization and not merely riding on the coattails of our fathers or family names, one would hope. Hence, we should not be guilty of doing the same with our offspring's name. Now, just a little thing before I go. Amir means prince. So when I named him, and he was born in the US, he only has 3 names, Amir Ayman Nassar. So his name is a vanity for me, because if I'm ever angry at him and I call him by his full name, it's like I'm calling myself royalty. Thank you.
Yeah, just a quick question. What do the law firms do back home with all these names? It must be a black.
The forms are very long.
Yeah, I can imagine. Hey,
What is your full name?
Could I say my full name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, say it. You say it.
Yeah, get on stage.
Come
Get
on up.
stage. Yeah.
This is my full name, Amir Ayman Khalid Hassan Nassar. Yeah.
Come on, your turn.
Ayman Khalid Hassan Nassar. See, so it's like
Oh, okay.
him, me, my dad, my granddad, family name. So you never forget who you are.
There you go.
Thank you. Another big hand for Ayman. That was great. We're going to have one more reader, and then we're going to take just a 5-minute break so you can get up, use the washroom, grab a drink.
At the same time?
Hopefully, with any luck, no. But please join me in welcoming, I guess we're calling him Ho now, is that right? Our head of enthusiasm. This is Georges.
All I could think of when Ayman was talking is especially about the boo part, like how you refer to somebody by their offspring's name. It's like the West didn't need more reasons to be afraid of Arabs, and now we go by boo, you know? Like, look, what I'm doing now might seem very everywhere, and it doesn't thread well together, but trust me, I'm getting somewhere. The reason I wanted to talk, like mention Ayman, is because Ayman is one of my oldest friends. We've known each other for X years, 12, 13? Okay, yeah, and counting. And he's one of my oldest friends. And now I hate the term best friend because it makes it seem like there are friends who are not really, you know, like, oh, he's my friend, he's my best friend. Like, that's my shitty friend, you know? But Ayman has always been in my life, and in Kuwait, and we moved together here kind of like at the same time. So to all the white people, surprise, I'm an immigrant as well. I'm an Arab, so as you can see, no belts around my waist, so you can calm down. But I want to offer you a perspective that only somebody like me or Ayman can offer you, which is to the people who are born and raised in Canada. I grew up, I still am, I didn't grow out of it. I have autism. And when you have a brain like that, not to sound like a broken record, because you know how autistic people hate repetition, I grew up in a movie mindset, which means if I'm sad, I want music to accompany me while I'm sad. And my view of the West was always through a small screen, which is the television. And that always fascinated me because I was lucky enough to come from a diverse family who we fucked everywhere, like China, Canada, Russia, you name it. Like, you name a nationality. So, sorry, what, are you okay? Okay? Yeah. Like, my family, like our family tree is hideous. Like, it's everywhere, you know? So I've always grew up with a Western culture. But the only way I could experience Western culture was through a television. So I grew up always looking up to the West, not because of anything, it's just because I believed I belong here. I'm meant to be in that space, not where I am. And that's a hard space to exist in when the place where your mom shot you out of her vagina is not the place you want to live in. And that's a tough noogie to be in, you know, but luckily I fought my way through. I built myself enough for Canadian immigration to go, ooh, this guy looks interesting. You can come in, please. And the reason I preface the story with this is so you know that the things you take for granted are things I once dreamed of. The only attachment point I had to Western culture was a Radio Shack that was in Lebanon, where I'm from. And I would see it in the movies, and I would see it outside. I'm like, holy fuck, like, and I would walk in, and I feel like I'm in a movie, like I'm buying stuff to make something. But then, you know, like Radio Shack shut down because no more business. So I'm like, fuck, it's not happening for me. So I come here. And the day I came here, I remember very clearly, the first thing we've done, my wife and I, is we went to Walmart. And I remember walking through Walmart crying because it felt like I'm in a movie. Like, Walmart was something I've seen in movies, never something I experienced with me being present. So I cried. My wife called me a bitch, like she always does. And I love her for that because she's a lawyer, she's Argentinian, she doesn't give a fuck, you know, like you're a bitch. Like she said it out loud. And like 2-3 weeks ago, I went and saw a Shakespeare play live. The guy I read growing up and memorized by heart. For the first time, I was seeing people perform his words to me. And that moved me, and I was crying so much, my wife got worried. She said, "Are you okay?" Of course, afterwards, she proceeded to call me a bitch. And like this, the fact that I'm able to sit here and speak my mind is something that I don't take for granted. It's something that I once dreamt of. Now, all of this to tell you is, there's one movie that struck me as a child, which was Ferris Bueller's Day Out. And I watched that movie and I thought, how the fuck do you have such an awesome day and nobody bats an eye? Until I had the Ferris Bueller's Day myself. And that's how I bring in Ayman into the story. I have never experienced the things I love live. So when Louis C.K. was, I know, ladies, don't kill me, I still like him. I'm sorry he masturbates, but I like him. The day I heard Louis was performing in Ohio, Ayman and I decided we can drive to Ohio and see Louis C.K. live. And so we did. So we decided to take a day trip, go see Louis C.K., have that experience, and then come back. But little did I know, what I thought was the epitome of my experience had yet another peak that made the story 10 times better. We drive to Ohio, Ayman and I. And on the way to Akron, Ohio. Now, by the name, you could tell there's nothing happening there. Probably they started naming the place, and by the end, they're like, that's enough, like, no need. We get to Akron, and I fell asleep the whole way. There's nothing to see. And Ayman wakes me up. He goes, hey, bro, we're in Akron. So let's look up what's there to do. So you know you're in a fucked up town when the first thing you Google comes out as cemetery. Ayman tells me there's a historical cemetery. I'm like, every cemetery is historical in context. So, and then he tells me, well, wait, right next to it, there's the historical steps of Akron. I'm like, holy shit, sign me up, let's go, bro. And we get to these steps, and it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I've seen dead bodies in my lifetime, but that was sadder. Like, those steps were hideous. Like, the steps leading down to CFTA had more history, and it just had more, and they had a big sign right next to it, like, they're proud. These steps took more than 2 years to build. I'm like, clearly it shows. No, don't have to convince me of it. And Ayman said, do you want to go up to see the vista from up there? I'm like, bro, let's not joke. Don't fuck with me. Like, we know there's nothing up there. You can go up, I'll wait here. Thank you, I'm fine. I call my wife. I tell her, she goes, ooh, what are you guys doing in Akron? I'm like, nothing. I'm calling you. This is probably the biggest event of the day in Akron, Ohio. And she tells me, show me the steps. And I show her the steps. She goes, oh, honey, you drove for that? She felt heartbroken for me. And Ayman is a runner, so I'm very proud of him. Next year he's running a 240 kilometer marathon. So Ayman says to me, I'm gonna run up the stairs, just get some cardio. And so I'm like, sure. So Ayman comes up, comes back down, he goes, bro, there's 5 kittens. I'm like, what? He goes, there are 5 kittens up there. And then he added a detail that I didn't know I needed. He goes, 4 are black, 1 is gray. I'm like, sure, weird flex, but I'll follow you. I was like, now I have to go up. I need to see these kittens. And mind you, I love animals. I have 3 dogs. I've had cats before, which I will not get into details how I lost them. I had animals, but I never fell in love with a cat before. So we go up, and lo and behold, that gray cat was very friendly. He wanted to play with us. I fell in love so much with that cat that I was willing to sacrifice my Louis C.K. ticket just to stay with that cat to make sure that somehow we'll figure out how to bring her back to Canada. Her at the time, he now identifies as a boy. So Ayman said, you know what, no, Louis is something you've wanted. Let's go to the show. If we come back, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So I've never prayed out loud in my life. I kneel down, and Ayman does whatever they do when they pray. And I said, Lord, please, giveth us the cat, you know? And it's because I fell in love with that cat, sincerely. Like, that cat moved me. Like, he was so cute. We go see Louis, we come back, we pick up the cat. We grab the cat, and we're bringing her back home to Canada. Now, at this point, we don't know how we're doing that. We have no papers. We have no provenance for the cat. We can't even... If the guy, like, for example, at the border asks us, like, haphazardly, hey, what's the cat's name? I'll be like, oh, can you give me 2 minutes, please? We grabbed the cat. I put him on my chest, and we both fell asleep for the entirety of the drive back to the border. Now, Ayman, of course, not the cat. Come on, Jen. Yeah. No, Ayman on my chest. Look, I love him to bits, but not that much. So the cat and I fall asleep. And the next time I'm woken up, it was Ayman. And I said, what's up? And he goes, we're at the border. Give me your passport. And I'm like, holy fuck, we didn't think about this. So I grabbed the cat and put him between my legs, down by my feet. And all I'm praying for is, please don't meow. Like, whatever you do, just don't meow. And we get to the border point, and the agent asks, what were you guys doing in the States? And we said, well, we were in Ohio. What for? And Ayman said, we were watching comedy show. And that was my cue to go, Louis C.K. And the guy just switched. He goes, no way, I love Louis C.K. Was he any good? I'm like, bro, he's brilliant. He goes, yeah, I'm watching him next week with my girlfriend. I'm like, yo, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love it. Now, at this same moment, the cat found my bone, and it was scratching it. But all I kept thinking, like, do that, just don't meow. And the guy's like, was it really good? I'm like, yeah, you have no idea. I promise you, that guy thought I was like, coming. Like, but it was the cat going at it, you know? And he goes, and all of a sudden he switches back. He goes, anything to declare in the car? And I go, no. And he goes, well, welcome back to Canada. And we drove in with the cat. And now it's Ayman's cat. Now, the reason why I tell you this story is, first of all, I had my Fierce Bueller's Day Out. That's a story for the books. It has a lot of moving parts other than that, parts that I cannot disclose right now without using the word allegedly. But yeah, there were other stuff, maybe for another day. But all I want to say is, when I cried in Walmart, it's because I was in that space for the first time in my life. But the reason why I love this cat, and I love the fact that one of my closest friends has that cat right now, is because that cat is the tangible, physical, and spiritual culmination of everything I ever wanted in a form of a very cute creature. Thank you, guys.
Another hand for George. Come on, everyone. Another big hand for George. All right, we are going to take 5. Please grab yourself a drink. Separately, go to the washroom. Yeah. Oh. And there's show and tell. Is this the cat? Wow. Oh.
Just keep it away from the cat, eh? I don't want to have sex with voice. I don't need synchronicity. That's a great spot.
Hey, everybody, we're going to get started just in a minute, so find your seats. That's good, that's good. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am still Jen Frankel. Welcome back to everybody. I'm looking forward to introducing our next guest. Please enjoy me in welcoming Akram.
Hi, everybody. My full name is Akram Khalid Hassan Muhammad Shahata Nassar. Shahata Muhammad Nassar. Even I get mixed up. But I'm Ayman's brother, Amir's uncle. And I just want to say that what George mentioned about like his first impressions of this country when he came, I'll never forget the first thing Amir told me when I picked him up from the airport the first time he came, technically the second time, but when he moved here for good. He was quiet for the whole trip, and then he just said, he looked at me and he said, "I have never been this cold in my life." And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Well, today I'm here to, first of all, big round of applause to everybody that presented so far. Some really great, inspiring work. Some things really moved me this close to tears. So hats off to all of you. I'm not really a writer, but I kind of dabbled in it when I was a kid, and a little bit when I was an adult. I had a really great English teacher. I'll never forget her. She passed away from cancer, but she made me believe that I had a gift, and I'll just never forget her. Her name was Alison Holloway, and she was really an inspiration to me. So I'm also a pharmacist. I've mentioned this before, and back home I used to work as a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I used to sell a drug called Effexor, it's an antidepressant. So I used to visit a lot of doctors, and we talk about depression, and I kind of heard some of the stories about depression. And in 2017, when Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, took his own life, I remember looking at, has anybody seen that last photo of Chester? If you Google the last photo of Chester Bennington, this is a guy who took his own life because he was depressed. If you look at that picture, his last photo, he was surrounded by his family and he was laughing. He was so happy. And then a couple of days later, he took his own life. Like, it just got me thinking, like, how insidious is this disease? How that it can just be festering and living right in front of us, and we don't even notice it. So it moved me in 2018 to write this short story. It's sorry, not a short story. It's creative writing, and it's a little dark, but there's a method to my madness. Okay. So I call it Darkness Rising. I am the most efficient killer in the world. Others may think the same. Others may think they deserve to lay claim to such a title. Others prefer to use guns, knives, poison, barbarians, amateurs. I have transcended all of that. All I need is an idea, a doubt, a word that is not said, or one said that should not have been. That is all I need. That is all I've ever needed. You see, that is my profession. To fan the embers created by man himself until they grow into a raging flame that ultimately claims his life. I'm very patient, sometimes waiting for years to claim a victim's life. I may even dive into their minds and sift through years of memories, looking for a single memory, a single event, a single regret. And when I find what I'm looking for, that's only the beginning. Have you ever heard of anyone else as efficient as me? I strike down whomever I choose. I make it a point not to discriminate against race, religion, gender, or social status. That is what makes me so terrifying. They never see me coming. This is not a hate crime, for my grudge is not against them. But against life itself and all the feelings that are held in such high praise. Happiness, love, laughter. I've waged my war against all of them since the birth of time. They can never anticipate my next victim. I consume them right in front of their eyes, hiding so deftly behind fake smiles, dismissive phrases like, "I'm all right," or nothing is wrong with me. Sometimes even hiding in plain sight, behind a single tear, or even a sudden outburst or a cry for help. And still, they can't stop me. They never see the end coming, and I leave no trace when I'm done. Hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness, and emptiness are all words that have been used to describe me. Loss, doubt, fear, and sadness are but mere samples of the tools I use to get the job done. I have even been known to corrupt the most noble of all things to suit my ends. Love. Yes, even love has not been safe from my insidious nature. How about social stigmas? Have you ever heard of a killer who uses social stigmas to further their cause? I have. I do my best work on weak and susceptible minds, molding them to fit my needs, and crushing all their aspirations and dreams. I pluck the feathers off the wings of hope one by one, until I ground their spirit and slowly choke the life out of it. I strip the laughter, happiness, and color off of life itself. By the time I get a foothold, my victims are begging for it all to end. And it does. So in a way, I'm merciful. Yes, I am a merciful killer. Let me show you the extent of my mercy. Let me tell you the story of one of my victims. She was normal, average, unimpressive, boring. But then I already told you, I do not discriminate. She had an uneventful life. Married with a newborn daughter, her husband worked a normal, boring job with normal, boring hours. Until one day it changed. One day he started arriving home a little later than he used to. That was all I needed. That was my ember, and I would nurture it lovingly into a mighty flame. Which instrument should I use? I have so many. I'll just stick to the classics this time. Doubt. Ah, yes, I always get such great results from that. Just lend some doubt to the husband's peculiar work hours. Regardless of the truth behind the whole situation, I distort reality, remember? The wife was already a weak one. The seeds were there. I just had to water them into trees. Maybe he's having an affair, she would think. Maybe he doesn't love me anymore. Maybe he doesn't think I'm beautiful anymore. And so it starts. The ones with low self-esteem were always putty in my hands. Already, the flames were starting to grow. She tried to lose weight, to recapture his interest, to save their love. Or at least she told herself that. Her attempts fell on deaf ears. For the husband was unaware of any changes or any of her misgivings. His life, at least, was progressing normally. He had nothing to worry about. He could not see that the wife was dying inside. The stress of it all made her anxious, which made her eat even more. And so a cycle of failure was born. Her increased agitation made her pick fights with him for no reason. Another false sign that confirmed her worst fears and speculations. For once the seeds of discord have been planted, leave the rest to time and human nature. Soon the lies and doubts take on a life of their own, and they are cemented into reality. Her reality, a reality that she created with false signs and fake proof. A reality where she lives in quiet torment, unaware that she is the only inhabitant. She begins to lose interest. She cannot get out of bed in the morning. Anhedonia has set in, and it slowly suffocates her. She vents and lashes out at the baby and hates herself for it. Self-hate is always an added benefit for me. I mix all of these ingredients into the bowl of her mind. And now the concoction is ready for the oven. And there it stays until it is finally ready. All I need now is a single whisper. Is it really worth it? That is always how I start. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth all the trouble and despair? Can anything, even life, be worth the heartache you feel right now? Why not end it? Finally get some rest. You deserve to rest. At first, she dismisses my whispers, citing religion and hope as her reasons. But I am persistent. I am patient. I am a professional. I visit her at different intervals, sometimes after a rather large fight with her husband, or while the baby is crying for no reason. Soon, I don't even need to push anymore. Soon, the whispers have consumed her. They infect her every cell, her very being. They engulf her every waking hour until the voices she has created persuade her that she deserves to rest. There can be nothing wrong with rest. Her mind was begging for the release that only death can bring. What came next was inevitable. I will not bore you with the details, for I have no interest in how she or any of my other victims did it. I do not care. For me, another mission has been accomplished. Another flame has been extinguished. Oh, it will come as such a shock to her husband, her friends, her family. They did not anticipate it. It was not even on their minds. They will have to console themselves with the idea that she did not show it, although every aspect of her fake reality screamed out for their assistance. It's too late now. I am the most efficient killer in the world. Thank you. So I'm just gonna close on something. I know it was kind of dark, and I know suicide is not something we really want to talk about, but the reason I wrote the story is because I want people to read it or listen to it, and I want them to think of that one person in their life who maybe is going through a tough time. Maybe they've changed. Maybe they've gained weight or lost weight. Just any changes, any small changes, because this disease, it hides behind the most clear of signs, but sometimes it's just so hard to see them. It's so hard to read between the lines. So, to quote Chester, in the song "One More Light," he says, "Who cares if one more light goes out in a sky of 1,000 stars? Who cares if someone's time runs out, if a moment is all we are? I do." So going out, if you take one thing from this talk, ask about your friends, try and read between the lines, and if somebody needs help, be that light that guides them back to this life. Thank you.
Another big hand for Akram, please. Thank you so much. Whew. Yeah, I hope you'll come back too. I hope everybody comes back. I hope this is the first time or the second time or the 50th time I've heard you. I still want you to come back next time. Please join me in welcoming our next reader for the evening, Story. Stand or sit or...
I have two disclaimers because this is being streamed. Any association with a well-known coffee chain is purely coincidental, legally speaking. And if anyone likes using the drive-thru, that's totally okay. I just personally am.
Is it called bar stocks?
Something. Yes, I think it sounds. Yeah, I think yeah. Are you clocked in? Locked in? Good. Then you know the drill. Follow the flow chart, or the cycle, or the sticker, however you want to picture it. Doesn't matter. No time to think. That's why we designed the cycle, so there's no time to think. And if there's no time to think, then there's no time to be stressed. Being stressed isn't part of the customer service cycle anyways. We intentionally designed it that way. So stick to the cycle. People need their drinks after all. People need their stimulants, sugar, caffeine, sex, dopamine, cocaine, amphetamines, whatever. Sure, we may only supply the first two. Dopamine comes free on the side. And you can bet if it was legal, we'd be serving our customers the rest. Because once you clock in, it's best to leave your morals in the back. Because you work for the siren now, and her siren song demands that you keep her happy, keep her trendy, keep her youthful and relevant. But God, I just hate how cliche it sounds to say that you're just a cog in the machine. But when your head is just constantly spinning and you're gritting your teeth to keep your composure, the cog analogy just seems to Existentialism is not part of the customer service cycle. Please refer to your new training assigned to you by the siren. Because look, I get it. I understand that at times it may feel unethical to give people this much liquid sugar, but as per our ethics and compliance policy that you have signed without reading, you are required to provide a welcoming atmosphere where customers feel comfortable overclocking their heart as desired with each additional espresso shot as desired. As required, same thing. So, slam those fucking espresso shots into the gas tank and floor it, because the drive-thru is only for those of us who have places to be. Sorry, I'm trying to get an energy for this one that is. Place is more important than here, with people more important than you. It's that mindset, pecking at the back of your brainstem, telling you that there is no time to rest, reminding you that the red lights are mere suggestions to those of us who are with important places and people to be, those of us with that continual rhythmic, palpitating need to keep that pedal floored. Actually, I think the pedal is just stuck. And I think that the beating is my heart working its hardest to keep up, to keep my body up with my brain's expectations, because I expect to be rich, and until I am, I expect to be treated as such. And to be rich means to squeeze every fucking millisecond out of the day, and to squeeze every fucking millisecond out of the day means you have to go through the drive-thru. It means we got to drive 5 minutes to the next location up the road because this one doesn't have a drive-thru. Because the drive-thru means that you're important, successful, more than most. Where's my latte? This is ridiculous. Impersonating an over-exaggerated idea of the average customer is most definitely not part of the customer service cycle. I mean, come on, that much should have really been obvious. Bartenders are trained to cut someone off when they're slurring their speech and can't keep themselves sitting upright. But when the soccer mom whose eye is twitching out of its socket gives you her order at five times the average speed of a normal human, baristas should smile and contribute to the near inevitability of that poor woman's heart attack. Because the customer is always right. The customer, like many humans, has many rights. And one of those rights is the right to a self-induced heart attack. So are you really trying to say that you want to deny a customer their rights? This green apron is beginning to get a bit constricting, I think. Green is the money color. I think I'm getting lightheaded. And the siren loves her money. I can't think. No time to think. We honestly don't know where she keeps all her money. Not thinking is part of the cycle. Stick to the cycle. I mean, being a siren, she wears no pants, and no pants means no pockets. How long have I been here? How long until the cycle ends? You could say her money is being kept offshore, and she says it is because she lives in the sea, but we're pretty sure it's for tax purposes. How long until Oh, it's 3 p.m. I guess I can clock out now. How's the timer? I have a small short one. All right, this is a separate. Dreamed out, spun out of time and out of mind, but certainly not out of sight, though. This borrowed confidence looks good on you, kid. Who'd you have to cyberbully to get it from? Like most things, like most currencies, like most emotions, confidence is in a very short supply nowadays, and we can't help but try and pickpocket it from one another. A small insult dressed up as a compliment is an easy way to covertly slip an ounce or two of confidence out of an acquaintance. Might be enough to last you a day or two, might be just enough for the afternoon, depends on how wisely you spend it. You were so brave to wear those pants out in public today. I love that for you. Addiction ruins lives, but this is one of the craziest drugs I've ever had. Do you really expect anyone to not get addicted? Do you honestly expect that people won't stoop to the lowest of lows for that next hit? An opioid addict will sell their dignity for a cheap next hit, but a confidence addict will sell their sanity just to be able to tell themselves that they are the only sane person in the room. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for Story. I think I was just reading the CEO of a particular corporation that may or may not have been something to do with what you were reading. It makes something like 7,000 times the average worker's wage.
Largest wage gap between CEO and lowest paid worker.
Who on earth could possibly have a worse one? Ah, okay. Well, that's okay. They only hire white people, I think, he said. Please join me in welcoming our next reader, Vikas. Have another big round of applause for Vikas. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I'm going home to call my dad. Thank you so much. Our next reader is someone who's been here before. Please join me in welcoming Steve. You want to stand yourself?
Wow, you guys have had such amazing poems and great nonfiction. I'm not a nonfiction guy myself, but I respect people who can do it and make it so interesting and so powerful and emotional. So more props to you. I hope you'll accept a dinky little fiction story I've got today. My name is Steve Bernardi. I'm a local author coming to you all the way from a few blocks that way. I'll be doing a section from a story from my latest book, Whisper Falls, The Town That Dreaded Halloween. Halloween's coming up. I thought it'd be appropriate to do some reading from it. The book is a collection of 7 original short stories, 5 of which I wrote over the course of the pandemic, one a year every October, and then a couple more I added for the publication. The story I will be reading from is called The October Carnival. And just a little bit of background. I'm definitely going to get the red light if I try to read the whole story, but a little background. So all stories are set in a fictional town called Whisper Falls. And in this particular story, the mayor of Whisper Falls has opted to cancel Halloween one year, which there's too much trouble. There's been controversies, not worth the trouble. This is not a popular move, especially with the mayor's 13-year-old daughter, Becky. Now, cut to the 30th of October. A mysterious carnival rolls into town run by 2 crooked carnies called the Gonzo Brothers. And the Gonzo Brothers have this idea that, well, there's a vacancy now where Halloween used to be. We're just going to move in and take over. We're going to make our own holiday, and you're just going to be okay with it. And Becky, with all the incensed rage that only a 13-year-old girl could muster, says, nuh-uh, that's not going to happen. So she convinces the Gonzo brothers into a game, and they settle on a scavenger hunt. They send her and her friends off into their carnival to find a series of keys. And if they can find the keys, they'll have a shot at getting Halloween back, essentially. So we're going to meet, we're picking up with Becky in the middle of her search here. It didn't take Becky long to reach her destination. She made sure to call dibs on the Ferris wheel when devising a game plan, although she got no argument. Signs had informed her that the wheel was known as the Eye of Anubis because it stood like a misty silver eye overlooking the whole carnival. The carny running it was a gaunt woman whose arms and chest were completely covered in tattoos. She winked at Becky as she took her tokens and helped her into her seat, and the girl couldn't help but blush as the ride jerked into motion. Going up was like floating into a cloud, with the haze that accentuated the wheel being thickest around the middle. When she was fully immersed, there were strange noises which Becky couldn't place at first. Shapes moved in the fog just outside her seat, and suddenly she could feel her heart beating in her chest. Joe and Avery said this place might be haunted, but clearly there was more to it than that. What dangers had she gotten her friends involved in? What had she gotten herself into? Hey, Pumpkin. The voice came before a weight plopped down into her cabin. Accompanying it was a wind too cold even for this late in October, and Becky could see her own breath. It was all she could focus on, her fear freezing her in place. This is pretty weird, isn't it? Sorry, I should have been better prepared. The bumbling way the voice spoke was enough to snap Becky out of it. There was something familiar about it, and she had to turn her head to confirm her gnawing suspicion. Dad? She stuttered. I don't believe it, sweetheart. I guess Oh, please don't start crying. If you cry, I'm going to cry. How'll that look? How about a hug for your old man? Becky leaned in to hug the ghost of her father. It wasn't like in the movies where the person just passes through like they were grasping smoke. To Becky, the sensation felt more like touching 2 magnets together, an intangible force preventing them from fully connecting. The act was cold and unsatisfying, nothing like what a hug from her father should have been. How are you here? I think it's this wheel, said Leonard Myers, scratching his incorporeal head. Acts as a kind of gate between this world and the next. These gonzo jokers play hardball, I guess. But why would the wheel show me you? You're not exactly scary, you know. That's the worst thing you can say to a ghost, her father joked. I'm serious, Dad. Well, it's because you're still a kid, kiddo. Not that many dead people yet, and not that many regrets, which is how it should be. but the wheel can't break you with the things you don't have. The noises in the mist suddenly became clearer to Becky. Screams and weeping blended together in a mournful melody, people forced to face those that they had buried or said goodbye to, what they didn't want to see and what they couldn't bear to look at. Hearing all that pain made Becky sadder than she thought was possible. "Careful now," said her dad. "You can't help people sail the sea of misery if you've got a hole in your boat." "You sound like Avery's dad," Becky laughed, wiping away a tear. "How is old Charlie doing? He a captain in the police yet?" "He's not even a sergeant." "Oh, for the love of..." "Okay, gotta focus. Ferris wheel rides aren't that long, so we haven't got much time." "Right," said Becky, hiding the well of emotions she felt behind a determined facade. "I get straight A's in school. Well, a few A's, but the rest are B's." "Okay, one C, but geography's hard." "I was never good at geography either," Leonard smiled. One of the advantages to being translucent, he found, was that it was harder for people to notice when you're crying. "I want to be a talk show host when I grow up, or maybe a writer. I think I'm scared of bees, but not wasps, which is weird because wasps are the more harmful ones. My favorite food is..." "Hey, pumpkin," her dad interrupted. "Your ride's almost over. I promise I want to hear all of this, and I just might next time you're alone in the dark or talking to yourself in the cemetery. But I'd make this next one count, sweetie." I love you, Dad. I miss you so much. Mom and I are fighting, and I don't know if it's ever going to get better, and I'm really scared, okay?" "You and your mom will be okay," he told her, embracing his daughter with the strange magnet hug one more time. "I love you both so much, even if you've got a couple of thick skulls." It relieved Leonard Myers to no end that he could still make his daughter laugh when she was upset. "I'll let you in on a secret, kiddo. You don't just magically figure stuff out when you grow up. Your mom was probably scared and confused too. Go easy on her, speak your mind, and forgive yourself and her when one of you messes up. Or, I'll haunt the heck out of ya." "Dad," Becky groaned, praying the ride would last just a little longer. The cloud began to thin, and so too did the image of her father. "Oh crap, I forgot to look for a key." "I'd scold you for the language," said the disappearing apparition, "but I'd cuss like a damn sailor too. They don't let us carry coins in the afterlife, but maybe you can put this in the swear jar instead." In his wispy hand was a brass key shaped like an ankh. "How did you..." "Grabbed it when we were at the very top. You're too easy to distract. That's why you like my magic tricks so much." He went to hand the item to her, and it fell into her palm when he disappeared. The last Becky saw of him was his mouth forming the words, "I love you." Whisper Falls is available on all major retailers. It's on Indigo, Amazon, Walmart. I do have a few copies with me tonight if anyone wanted to buy one. My other book is called How to Succeed in Skeleton Business. It's a fantasy story, but for lovers of Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, things like that. It's about a skeleton named Chadwick Bonesberry who talks like Doctor Who and dresses like Fred Astaire, top hat, monocle, the whole bow tie, the whole works. Very fun, very witty kind of fantasy story. I've got some of that too if you want to grab one from me today. In the meantime, I hope you all have a lovely evening and happy Halloween.
Can we have another round of applause for Steve? Thank you so much. And now you've got to help me. Is it Yoel? Is that right? Cool. Please join me in welcoming Yoel. You're going to sit? Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name's Joel. I'm It's called The New Death. Buy it when it comes out.
We have to remember that apparently only it takes 3.5% of the population to make a change. So 3.5% of the population doing anything, and we can have social change. So that's something you've got to remember when it comes to like looking south of the border and wondering if it's going fascist. 3.5% of the population. And they almost had that in the last No Kings rally, so there's hope for us. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Another big hand for Joel. We just have a couple more readers. I'm really delighted to bring up one of the stalwarts from the Center for Talking Arts. What is your title? Because you're not the head of Enthusiasm. The manager. That's we got to think of something more exciting for you. If you can, like let me after I introduce him. Oh, I like that. You just called him a dick. All right, please join me in welcoming someone who's definitely not a dick, Dexter.
I'm only a dick on purpose. I have one poem to share with you. It's 12 lines. I'd just like to share with you the inspiration for it, and it's somewhat related to Yoel's talk. I was on vacation in Mexico, 2 weeks. I'm on the beach, sitting on a lounger, and as you can imagine, it's picturesque, perfect, waves, trees, birds, and the vacation did for me what vacations essentially do. It brought me peace and an embodiment, and I became self-aware and somewhat philosophical and existential. And I remembered, I used to write poetry. I used to read books. And now I do this. And I was reconnected to that self. And let me read you this poem I titled Last Lullaby. Shedding of the inessential, what every day does in some way. Far away from all that is familiar, a child soothed by the smiling song of nature. There are millions and billions of every little thing, and the importance of not counting. The ocean of human tears, the willing reincarnation of rain. Again and again, the crashing of the waves. Barefoot on the fossil cells of mountains past, troubled minds leave footprints with ears awake. Mother hints what is to last. Thank you.
Another big round of applause for Dexter, please. That was beautiful. That feels like exactly the feeling that I want to get when I go on a vacation. That was beautiful. Please join me in welcoming our last performer for the night. I have no idea what he's going to do. I'm not sure if he knows what he's going to do, but this is Amir.
Well, I am Amir. I'm just an 8-year-old kid at school. Slash actor. If you wanted to see the video I made, on YouTube, you can search up IDRF Hide and Seek, and then you'll see it. Oh, and just in case you don't think it's me, I didn't wear my glasses, so this is what I would look like. So today, what I'm talking about is this guy. Also, somebody yesterday said that somebody yesterday said that they knew a racist dog. Long story short, it was a dog that kept on biting Indian kids. I'm not trying to be racist, but that's what he said. Anyways, my dad told me about racist cats. Well, I mean, it's not to kids, it's to this guy. So this guy is, of course, gray. And then when you heard George, I don't know if he's still here. Yeah, he's right there. He said that there were also a few black cats. And so the black cats, they lived in a tiny cellar. It was like a flipped over trash can with food inside. But then where they found him, of course you heard, he was on the staircase. They were leaving him out. Just because he was gray. And they were black. And, yeah. Also, I'm not done yet. I just need to say one more thing. I guess it really was meant to be because, I mean, the black ones, they just ran away straight when they came, according to my dad. I wasn't there. I have no idea where I was. But anyways, and then he was the only one who started to play. So, yeah, that's it. Have a good night. Bye.
I think you are now officially our youngest reader ever. Thank you so much. Another big round of applause for Amir. And another big round of applause for everyone. Thank you so much. It was a fantastic night. Such amazing stuff. I hope you'll all join me here again next month. We're going fourth week? Can't next month. Yeah, fourth Friday next month. Come on back. Bring your spooky stories. We'll try to have a Christmas show. It's my Christmas. What can I say? Halloween. Steve, you'll come back and read something scary for us. That's great. Everybody, thank you so much. Go out there and go and be good to each other. Thank you so much for an amazing night. Thank you to CFTA for hosting us. Have a great night, everybody.